So that is about it. So this is the assignment. I have posted it in Google Classroom. So today we will discuss about making graphs. So now that we have collected data, now we will try to do some kind of graphs. So I have a simple statement. So we will start with simple statement. Simple statement is like, okay, let us plot a graph. Let us make a bar chart. As you know, what is a bar chart? Bar chart is nothing but like this. Let me get into drawing mode. So there are several graphs, right, in your secondary, high school, or whatever it is. So you might have done a lot of graphs. So this is a line graph, and bar graph is nothing but like this. So this is bar graph, and you also might have seen other graphs such as pie chart. Pie chart is something like you have the pie, and then you have some data saying that, okay, this is the percent of share of people who are affected and stuff like that. Okay. So that is pie charts. So there are several graphs. You can do histograms and a lot of things. So that requires a little bit of mathematical knowledge. You can just refresh what are all these things. So as you know, this is I don't think you will ever forget this x-axis and y-axis. So this is x-axis and y-axis. So in order to plot the graph, what do we need? We need data points between this x-axis and y-axis. So it is just like get all the numbers that you need to plot in x, get all the numbers or all the data that you need to plot in y-axis. That's all. So you just need two points on a graph, because this is a 2D graph. You just need 2 points to plot the graph. So bar charts describe data in certain way. If you wanted to convert this chart into a line graph, this would look something like this. Same data would look something like this. So if there is a bar graph, something like this. So imagine that there is a bar here. So same graphs can be denoted in different formats. So basically, in mathematical terms, it's still the same data. So x and y are having some kind of data. Okay. So that is just to refresh the mathematics part of it. Okay. So let us look at our problem statement. Problem statement is make a bar chart with states in x-axis and number of cases in y-axis. So what this essentially means is that we have, if you remember our requirement, so we also had an additional requirement where we say that, okay, in the mail, right now we are sending the 3 data, that is like 3 different types of data. One is your Excel sheet as an attachment, and then one is your subscriber data. Okay. That is like if subscriber has subscribed to Karnataka and Kerala, he will get only those 2 data. Okay. State and active cases, and then he also gets the news. So these are the 3 types of information we are sending using our project, that is our mail service project. Now additionally, what we can do is we can also send the graph. So additionally, we can send a picture, attach the picture inside the mail. So whoever receives the mail, he will get something like these are like 1,000, 100, whatever it is. So maybe it is like 20,000. So these are the active number of cases. So these are state names. Okay. So I can draw a graph like something like this. So one state has this. Imagine that there are only 3 states for now. So if we have bar graph like this, say this is Karnataka, this is Maharashtra, and maybe this is Andhra Pradesh. Okay. So you can draw a graph like this, and it gives a pictorial representation of how the COVID is affecting various states, and which one is mostly affected. So this is the data. So this is one of the problem statements. So let us now that we have the problem statement in our mind, let us look at the code, and let us look at the libraries that we are going to use. Okay, so there is a popular library called as matplotlib. Okay. Using that, it's very easy to draw graphs. I'll just show you. This takes only few lines of code to do, just to draw the graphs. You just need to install that library using pip, and this is all it takes to draw the graphs. Okay, so I'll explain what is happening. So we have a function. So yesterday we used db handle this file. We wrote this file, and we wrote a function to populate data into the database. So this was command which took in the data which is coming inside our function here. So this is get row. So here we are inserting the rows into the database. So this is the news data that we are inserting. We can also insert the state-wise data. So that is done in generatex ls. That is because we are processing it anyway here. So it is much easier to put the insert a code to put the items into the DB at this part. So you just insert the row, same function, to a different table, and you send the data that needs to be put in the table. So yesterday, if you look at the table structure, this was our table structure, inserting data into the state cases. So how do you make sure that we have inserted the data? So that would be the question. So you can download, either you can write queries directly to pull out the data and see what is the inside database. Also, there are several softwares which can read the database file and tell you what is inside. So one of such softwares is like DB browser for SQLite. So SQLite is a database that we are using in our program right now. So if you just open the database, just choose the database, and it tells you what are the tables. So this is the table we have created. So how did we create? So let us look at this code. DB handle. So here we created the table, create table, using this SQL command. So we are sending the command with these items. So we created the table and then we populated it. So here I'm populating, I'm inserting a row. So I'm populating data inside this table called as state cases. And yesterday here we inserted data to the news table. Okay, so both the tables are populated. So let us look at, I ran the code today morning. Let us look at what is inside. Okay, so in news, so today is 27. So I ran the program, and this is how it looks. So each one of our columns or each one of our lines has the data. Okay. So this is today's news, and we have populated that. So let us look at state cases table. If you look at that, so these are the state names, and these are the active cases. This is exactly what we are sending using our Excel sheet. Okay, this is the same data, but we do not have the data containing day. Okay, so this is our database. So actually this is actual database. I have just opened the database in one of the softwares. In fact, you can write code or you can just log into the SQL database and write query such as select star from this table, and it will display the same thing on command line as well. Okay, this is one of the easiest ways to visualize the data that you have inserted. Okay, now that we have things in database, our goal was to plot the graph. So I was showing you this so that we get familiar with what kind of data we are populating. Okay, this is our goal. Make a bar chart with the x-axis and y-axis. Let me show the code. Code is actually very small. So I have written a function called as drag graph. So what this does is it gets a statewise data for a given graph. So this function just connects to the DB, and then it shoots the command to select all the data that is inside that table for a given date, and then we are just looping through it, and then we collect x-axis and y-axis data. Okay, so this is y-axis list and x-axis list. As you know, that our graph must contain x-axis and y-axis since this is in 2D, and then you need some points. So x-axis data is collected here, and y-axis data is collected here. So once you have the data, you can simply plot it. So these are just points. Okay, so this list contains x-axis points, this list contains y-axis points. That's all. Okay, so how are we collecting? We are collecting, we are sending a command. Just do select star, select all the data where day is whatever we pass through the function parameter. So this lists if there are like 10 days news. So if you give a specific date, we will only get that particular date's data. Okay, so if there are only this day's data, we will get. So we iterate through that, and then we just append the points. That's all. So what is in x-axis? X-axis has state names, y-axis has number of active cases. That's all. Okay, so this is what this function does. So I think you can read the code now. You might have be familiar with the structure and how it is, how does it look. Okay, so that's all we do here. So we just collect the data and put it in two different lists just to plot the graph. So let us go to our function draw graph. So I'm calling this here, the same function that we are looking at. So we get all the points, x and y are lists. We can, in Python, as you know, you can return two values at a time. So this comes as a tuple, but it looks like we are returning two values. Okay, so this is the library. It's called matplotlib. This is heavily used in artificial intelligence and what do you call it, data science area. So this is we are making use of it of this very in a very small manner. That means we are not using the entire functionality. This is like very basic thing that we are doing with this. So this can be used to generate your SLA reports, your test case reports, histograms. So you can do a lot of things with using this library. And this library also has, along with NumPy and pandas, you can do a lot of great stuff. Okay, so that is why I was telling you to download the code and play around with that. So once you start playing around, you get a lot of ideas to implement, and then you can start writing code and add modules, or you can make your own project and do great stuff. Okay, so that is what I request you to do. So you download the code and play around with this. So execute it and change the values and all these things you can do. Okay. So we got the x and y axis. So this is just a just an object that we are getting out of this library. Create an object called as plot dot figure. So this will create an object, and then you just add the axis. This is actually it's like how big the graph should look like in a picture. Okay, so you can change this to, if you want to you can play around with these values. This is just saying that how big the graph should look like. So we'll change it, and we'll look for it. Okay, so you just add the axis, and there is a function called as bar. So it takes input as list of x points and list of y points, and it draws the bar. So that's it. So it's just 2 lines of code. So you just initialize the object, and just pass the values. Okay, and then you can do little more things around it, such as you can add a title to your graphs, and you can add the x-axis name and y-axis name, and also you can rotate them. So these are like additional stuff you can do. We'll see what it means. And then you can either save the figure as a png, jpeg, whatever it is. So you can just save it as a picture onto the hard disk, and then we can use that to send the mail. Okay, so this is all it takes to draw the graph. So let us try to I'll just change this to 3. Let us try to execute the program, and let us see how the graph looks. So one of the advantages of using Python is you don't need to worry about how it is drawn, and like for example how to control each one of the data that is inside the graph. You don't have to know everything about it. So it automatically adjusts the graph, and it gives what is needed, and on top of that you can do analytics. So soon after you save it, you can also ask the program to display it. So if you look at this graph, it says that okay, this is look at this area, so which is the highest active cases state. It's Maharashtra. So the second one is Andhra Pradesh, the third one is Karnataka, and the least one maybe it is Lakshadweep, and things like that. So this is like a live graph in the sense you have to move it around. So the same graph is saved as PNG. So the pop-up that we got is from this plot.show as plt.show. This is nothing but the plot. Okay, so let us look at plot3.png. We have saved it as a picture. Plot3.png. So this is how the graph looks. Okay, so you can modify this to your own graph. Okay, so as we discussed in problem statement, I told you that okay, active cases should be listed in y-axis, and as you see that you are not writing code to display all these marks and this stuff. 25,000, 50,000, 75,000, all these incremental things we are not doing. So matplotlib, it has intelligence to look at the data and plot it automatically. So this is one of the advantages of using languages like Python. So you don't need to be expert in graph. You need a graph. Okay, you know the basic thing like the secondary high school knowledge. You just pick up the things and you just feed it to the code, and it will give you the results. So in case you want to do additional stuff, so then you can read about the library further, and then you can control it. So this is about how it looks. So in fact, I'll just show you the code why it is tilted. So you can x ticks says that okay, all the ticks of the x should be in 45-degree angle, so that I can read the state names. I think it starts from here, so it is like crumbled here in one place. So you can instead of printing all the 30 states here, what you can do is you get in your logic, somewhere in the either in the query or in your logic here, you can pick up only top 10 states and then draw the graph. So that makes a lot of sense for a person who has subscribed to your mail service software, and then it's just like our websites which gives us things in graphical manner. So you can do a lot of things like this. So that's all about graphs. So x-axis, y-axis, use the plot lib and do it. Say for example, we can think of a lot of problem statements, because we already have the data, everyday data from last maybe just imagine that we have collected from last 3 months. You can do something like okay, state wise weekly data. So one bar represents old week, one bar represents current week. So if I have to draw graph in manual manner, it would look like something like this. So you can take this as an exercise, so that you learn a little bit about graphs. Okay. First play around with the current code, and then you can do it. Okay, so it's like this is the graph, and then your state-wise data, maybe let us consider 3 states for now. Let me change the color. So you'll have 2 bars per state. So this bar will represent the current week. So in current week, these are the active number cases reported, and this is let us simplify it for just for active cases for now. And the second bar would look something like this, which is attached to the first bar. So you'll have something like this. So if it is like Kerala, last week it was high, and this week it is very low, which means that I pressed something. Okay. So that is how you do the double bar graph. So you can take that and give that report to the users. So you will have so depending on the requirement, you can do a lot of analytics like this. So you can do that. So okay, so that is about drawing graphs, what it takes to do in Python. So there are several libraries which support graphs. So this is widely used. This library is called as matplotlib. Okay, so you just use that and write this code. That's all. Okay. So once you start writing code, you will your mind starts thinking about what should I do next, and then the creative juices kick in, and you can do a lot of great things. Okay, that is why I insist to download the code and try around with that. Okay, so that is about graphs. That's all I had in my mind to deal with the graphs. So there was one more activity I was planning to find the bug. So in next maybe 20-30 minutes we'll try to find out the bug. So in your laptop, what I want you to do is go to this link. I will send you the link right now. Okay, go to this link. I'll shoot the link here. Okay, so go to this link. This is already available in GitHub. Download the code. Download it as a zip if you do not have a Git already. So just download it as a zip, open it, and try to execute the code. And once you execute the code, what happens is right now the mail is mail function is, I think it's commented out. Let us see if it is commented out here. A report here. I'm triggering the mail. So this is commented out, so that your inboxes do not get bombarded with these mails. In fact, you can change this. You can change the subject line to something like COVID dashboard colon your name, so that you come to know that okay, mail is coming from this particular person, because we are using a single email ID to shoot the mail. So that email is here. So I have created a temporary email here, bytes, and this is the temporary email address. In fact, you can log into this and check, or you can see your mailbox. So once you shoot the mails, the mail will be triggered from this account, from SMTP. So we discussed about SMTP and all these things. So just download and try to trigger the trigger the mail. And now the exercise is so I have reported an issue here. So once you look, if you look at the mail, if you try to send the mail with that code, what is happening is currently the user is subscribed to multiple states, but he gets the data only for one of the states. That is like only Kerala is coming in the mail. So user is unhappy that okay, I have subscribed to a couple of many states, but I get data of one of the states. So where are the other states? It's missing. So that is what is expected. So I wanted to download the code and find the bug. So how do you find the bug? First you need to run the code and then see if this you are able to reproduce the problem, and then look at the logs and put print statements, or using PDB or logging. So just try out in maybe 10 to 15 minutes and try to download the code and try it out. And if you are not able to find out, then we will I'll tell you how to do it stepwise. Okay, so this activity we will it's now 9:10, so we'll do it for like maybe 15 minutes. Okay, 10-15 minutes, because you need time to download the code, and then you need time to run it. So I think it will take about 5 to 10 minutes, and then finding out the bug, reproducing at least reproducing till reproducing part, it will take 15 minutes. Then we'll find out what is the bug. Okay. So this is this bug I have deliberately introduced. So it was a bug initially, so I fixed it. Then I removed the code so that I can teach you guys how to debug the code, because most of the times you will be debugging your own code. So I want you to get used to that. Okay. Okay. So start downloading the code. This is the link. So I'll give you 10 minutes just to download the code and execute it. It should not take more than 5 minutes. So let's keep it as 10 minutes. Okay. So I'll just go on mute. Just ping me once you are done. So this is a exercise. I will also show you. I'll trigger the mail and keep downloading it. I'll just trigger the mail. Reports, and then I have commented this part. So okay, so subscribers are here. So there are a lot of subscribers. Each subscriber at least has subscribed to two, minimum two. But when he receives a mail, let me trigger the mail.